Call the Owatonna City Council meeting to order for December 17th, and with that, I'll ask for a roll call.
Councilmember Trilson.
Here.
Dotson.
Here.
Schultz.
Here.
Burbank.
Here.
Rainey.
Here.
Svenby.
Here.
Abraham.
Here.
Mayor Kunz.
Here.
We have all 7 of the council and the mayor present.
Thank you. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everyone here for the City Council meeting, the last one of the 2013, and with that, we'll go on to the approval of the agenda, and I don't believe there's any additions to that, so we'll look for a motion to approve as presented.
So moved.
The motion by Raymond to approve.
Second.
Do you have a second? Second by Brent Svenby. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved. Next item on the agenda is Mayor has some board recommendations. With that, we'll go to the mayor. Tom?
Thank you, Les. First one will be we received a letter of resignation from Doug Parr, so I would ask for the council's support and approval of that letter of recommendation. Letter of resignation.
Okay. And do we need to approve that, or?
Just acknowledge it, I would say.
Okay,
yeah.
I think acknowledge it would be the appropriate. Okay. And with that, we do acknowledge that.
Okay. And along with that, we will send him a plaque. He was unable to be here tonight. The City Council of Owatonna, the mayor and the City Council express sincere appreciation and deep gratitude to Doug Parr for 2.5 years of service on the Human Rights Commission, signed December 17, 2013, and we will make sure we mail that to him. With Doug's replacement, Fred Ventura has been so kind as to say that he would love to serve on the Human Rights Commission, so I'm asking for City Council approval of Fred Ventura appointed to the Human Rights Commission.
Make that motion.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Nate to approve and a second by Greg Schultz. Any further discussion? With that, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved. Thank you, Tom.
Fred, can you do the oath of office? Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Fred Ventura, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
I solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
the laws of the City of Owatonna,
laws of the City of Owatonna,
and I will faithfully and impartially discharge
faithfully and impartially discharge
the duties of the Office of Human Rights Commission
the duties of the Office of Human Rights Commissioner
of the City of Owatonna,
of the City of Owatonna,
to which I have been appointed,
to which I have been appointed.
to the best of my knowledge and ability, so help me God.
That's my knowledge and ability, so help me God.
Thank you, Fred, very, very much. Appreciate it, yes.
Thank you.
And along with Fred's appointment, I'm recommending that we reappoint the 5 names to the Charter Commission: Nick Lewis, John Avalka, Dean Smith, Raymond Trilson, and Ken Hendrickson. The term expires this year, and they're all eligible for reappointment, so I'd ask the City Council for motion to reappoint them to the Charter Commission.
Thank you, Mayor. And with that, Chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
We have a motion by Greg to approve these names. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Brent Svenby. Any further discussion? Raymond?
I have to abstain from voting since I am one of the people. So.
Well, then we can vote no to you?
Yeah.
No further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And 1 abstention. So this has been approved. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
With that, we'll move on to public hearing 1.5.1 Resolution 18-13 Development District 3 modifications and TIF. Catch that here.
3.7.
3.7. With that, we'll go to Troy.
Vision Processing Technologies is proposing a 15,000 square foot addition onto their facility at 220 24th Avenue Northwest. The addition is to add a new production line which would result in 20 new employees. Vision is requesting tax increment financing to assist in the building addition. The request is to establish a tax increment financing district for up to 9 years. The total increment is estimated at about $380,000 with a present-day value of $280,000. This would be a pay-as-you-go TIF with Vision upfronting the cost for all the improvements to the property and then being reimbursed the increment each year once the taxes are paid. The city is incurring consulting fees to this. The cost would be paid out by the EDA consulting budget, and that would be reimbursed through the tax increment financing over the life of the districts. So staff would recommend adoption of the attached resolution approving the Development District Number 3 modification and Tax Increment Financing District Number 3-7 and the use of tax increment financing for the Vision Processing project. So there will be a public hearing and then a resolution, and we do have Ed Sheeta here, our consultant with Advanced Resources, to answer any specific questions you might have.
Thank you. With that, we will open a public hearing at 7:07. If anyone wishes to speak on this issue, please come forward to the microphone and make your comments. And seeing none, looking for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Raymond to close the public hearing. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Dave Burbank. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved. Now it's council's turn for comment. And is there anyone in the council wish to comment? Seeing none, we'll look for a motion for Resolution 118-13.
So move we accept.
Motion by Raymond to accept. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Greg Schultz. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved. Thank you, Troy, and thank you, Ed. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
With that, we'll move on to financial report. And I'll do a quick recap of the financial status. Start out with $300,000 for Chart Incorporated MIF grant pass-through, $46,867 for Gopher Sport, a TIF reimbursement, $71,027 for Hendrickson PSG Library Bremer grant furniture purchase, $62,728 for LMCIT quarterly workers' compensation premium, $21,368 for Mintex 2 library self-checkout machines, $549,915 for Pierce Manufacturing for rescue pumper prepayment, $21,463 for Rapids process equipment, repair blower at wastewater treatment plant, $120,180 for Southeast Service Cooperative for December insurance premiums, $22,850 Yoakum Oil fuel purchase, $249,222 for other expenditures for a total of $1,465,586 for total expenditures. What is the council's wishes?
So move we approve.
We have a motion to approve by Raymond. Do we have a second to that?
Second.
Second by Dave Burbank. Any further discussion? Raymond.
Just got one question. When we have fuel purchases, does it list the airport separate if it's an airport purchase? Or this one just says fuel? Does that mean the one we use for other police cars? And
That's the general city use fuel.
Okay.
The airport is from a different vendor.
when you do the airport, that's spelled out airport? Okay. That's what I thought.
Any other discussion? What is council's wishes?
Had a motion.
Oh, we do have a motion approval. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved. Thank you. Now we'll move on to consent agenda items, which includes minutes, renewal of tobacco license, other cab permits, etc., board commission minutes, monthly reports, contract agreements, etc., all grouped into one motion. With that, what is the council's wishes?
I move we approve.
We have a motion. We'll take Brent this time.
Second.
Second by Kevin Rainey. Any further discussion on the consent agenda items?
Les,
Raymond?
I see on the garbage license, there's a gentleman's had one for years and years, has never implemented to use that license in Owatonna.
Who's that?
It's the St. Peter, Minnesota one. He's never, ever used the license at all. I wonder what his intent was, I guess, by applying for a license every year, and I don't think in 5 years he has even implemented it. So.
LGP.
But he's paid for the trucks and stuff every year, but I guess I was wondering.
They probably just want to have a permit in place, so in case they would have a customer or be able to offer to a customer base. The license are minimal fee, so they've just opted to keep that in
He would renew it
place.
every year and not implement that.
Yeah, I think it is just the flexibility to come into town if they wish to. It's just a $10 fee per year per vehicle. So.
But he chooses not to come to Owatonna, just buy the permit. Hopefully he's doing that in every community around here.
An investment.
If anybody else wants to do that, feel free.
Okay. We do have a motion and everything is approved on that, so. We'll move on to action items.
Don't you have to vote on it?
I thought we did.
We have to approve it.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved for the consent agenda items. Next item on the agenda is 3.1.1, action item, municipal separate storm sewer system. And with that, we'll go to Kyle.
Good evening. Before you have an application for permit coverage for our MS4 permit, this is the city's permit for stormwater through the MPCA. The new permit went into effect on August 1st of 2013, and we are required to submit an application for coverage by the end of the year, December 31st. This is a significant change to how the stormwater program will be run for the city of. Largely, what it's doing is it's taking enforcement from the MPCA and making that responsibility of the city. So instead of actually going out and doing the inspections themselves, the MPCA has hired I think it's 8 new auditors. So they're going to be coming to the city and auditing us and making sure that we are enforcing the provisions of the permit. So and the regulations have increased quite a bit as well. So over the process for the permit is, like I mentioned, we have to have the application in by the end of the year, and then it will go on public notice. There'll be a 30-day public notice through the state register where comments can be made. We'll have an opportunity to respond to those comments, and then it'll be approved through the MPCA, and from that time we've got a year to implement these changes. So over the course of the next 16 months is my estimate, you'll be seeing a lot of ordinance changes and cleaning up some of our regulations related to stormwater. So
And
any questions?
And what they're telling us is this is an unfunded mandate.
Well, that was the first comment on my page, but I skipped it.
Yes, Raymond.
Did we fill this report out internally then, or did we have to hire an outside?
Because of the vacancy in that position, the stormwater position, we did use a consultant to...
What did that cost us?
The original quote was around a little less than $8,000. They did not use all of that. So we
That's
still,
what our stormwater person would have done then? Or?
Correct. And then that'll leave us a little bit of time during the comment period to have them assist us with any comments. I hope to have the stormwater person on board, and we'll be able to handle that internally by then.
Okay. Thank you, Kyle. Any other questions from the council? What is the council's wishes?
So move we approve.
We have a motion by Raymond to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Kevin Rainey. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved to proceed with. Thank you, Kyle. With that, we'll move on to ordinances 3.41, second reading of proposed ordinance 18-13, annexation of ground master property. And that will go to Troy.
This is a request from Bruce and Betty Jo Busho on behalf of Owatonna Groundmasters, which have petitioned for annexation for the property at 1520 State Avenue. It's 2.1 acres, would be zoned B2 Community Business District. They are requesting annexation in order to hook up to utilities, and we did approve an agreement to allow them to do that before this annexation is complete. They are scheduled to do that tomorrow to get those utilities connected. Under our annexation agreement, we would be required to pay the Owatonna Township $353.08. So staff is recommending approval of the proposed annexation, second reading, and further to recommend that the property be zoned B2 Community Business District.
Thank you, Troy. No questions from the council? What is the council's wishes?
Approved.
We have a motion by Brent to approve. Do you have a second?
Second.
Second by Dave Burbank. Any further discussion? This be an ordinance. Ask for roll call, please.
Councilmember Trulson?
Aye.
Dodson?
Aye.
Schultz?
Aye.
Burbank?
Aye.
Rainey?
Aye.
Svenby?
Aye.
Abraham?
Aye.
All 7 ayes.
Thank you. This has been approved. The next one is the second reading of proposed ordinance 19-13, which is annexation of Stockwell property. And again, Troy.
Similar annexation requests from Jeremy and Kaylin Barsh, Leona Stockwell, and Northern Building Contractors. 2.36 acres, again, would be in a B2 Community Business District. Also requesting to be hooked up to utilities, and we do have an agreement with them to hook up before this annexation is complete. They have not done that up to this point, and it's unknown if they would actually do that here during the winter yet or wait till the spring. We do have a letter of understanding with the properties, which agrees that they will pay the assessment over a 10-year period at a 3.5% interest rate. Again, under our annexation agreement, we would owe the Owatonna Township $703.88. So staff would again recommend approval of the second reading of this annexation and further recommending that the property be placed in a B2 Community Business District.
Thank you, Troy. Questions from the council?
Troy, how deep does the frost have to go before you discontinue getting a service to somebody?
Well, I don't know that there's a magic number there. It's getting to that point. So I was actually surprised that tomorrow Groundmasters would be doing it. But we did the demolition on the houses today, and it's tough to get even the foundation out and concrete slab out because everything's pretty frozen in.
Okay.
They've had frost blankets down for a week, and that what they're doing tomorrow. They've had blankets on the ground for about a week. They rented, or it's a heat blanket they call it. So they've been on the ground for about a week before they do that. So there is some frost. So.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
Move to approve.
We have a motion by Greg to approve. Do you have a second to that?
Second.
Second by Nate. Any further discussion? Again, this being a ordinance, ask for roll call, please.
Councilmember Trulson?
Aye.
Dodson?
Aye.
Schultz?
Aye.
Burbank?
Aye.
Rainey?
Aye.
Svenby?
Aye.
Abraham?
Aye.
All 7 ayes.
Thank you. This has been approved also. Thank you, Troy. With that, we'll move on to resolutions. Resolution 119-13, making levy of taxes for 2014. And with that, we'll start with Chris.
Thank you, Les. I just wanted to say a few words before I hand it over to Rhonda. This is the culmination of many months of work, and I want to thank Rhonda and her staff, along with the department heads, for their hard work and dedication in putting this budget together at a zero levy. Also want to thank the council for their careful study and advice and guidance in this process. So, Rhonda?
This actually pertains to the next three resolutions. You have a resolution to adopt the levy for the city, adopt the levy for the HRA, and then adopt the budget for the city. And as Chris said, we've had several meetings over the budget. The most recent one was on December 3rd. We had a public hearing for the public to give their input on the budget. The budget, which is presented to you tonight, is what was presented on December 3rd also. And staff recommends you approve these resolutions.
Thank you, Rhonda. With that, we'll start with Resolution 119-13 for the making of the levy taxes. What is the council's wishes?
Motion we approve.
A motion by Nate to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Greg Schultz. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved. The next one is Resolution 120-13, authorizing 2014 HRA levy. And with that, Chair will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Dave Burbank to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Brent Svenby. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved. Next one is Resolution 120-13, adopting budget for fiscal year 2014. What is the council's wishes?
Move to approve.
We have a motion by Greg Schultz to approve. Do you have a second?
Second.
Second by Dave Burbank. Any further discussions there?
I would like to commend Chris and Rhonda and everybody else as well for the overall budget. I think we're making some good expenditures and playing some catch up here. Keep our fingers crossed that LGA doesn't change with the legislature, and maybe next year we have some opportunities to lower our levy. So
thank you for those comments. Thank you for those comments. Greg.
Just make a comment too. You know, we had a chance this year to do some things we've been talking about for a number of years with the vehicle replacement fund, and I think it's a great step forward. And I want to commend Rhonda and Chris for their hard work on that.
I agree, and thank you. Any other comments? Having a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved also. And thank you, Rhonda and Chris, for it's really a good budget this year. I like what we've got. So thank you very much for that. And now we'll move on to Resolution 22-13, commitment of fund balance. And that hasn't been discussed, so I'll take Rhonda again.
This resolution is actually a result of discussions we've had with council at work sessions about fund balance. Council has the authority to commit portions of fund balance to specific projects. So there's two specific reasons that we're going to be committing fund balance tonight. City Council has reviewed and accepted the recommendations of the Park and Rec Board and the Brooktree Golf Association as to the use of the DuPont settlement. The settlement was for $1,858,000. One purchase was completed in 2013, which leaves a net amount of $1,844,000 for the council to commit to future capital projects. Additionally, the City Council has made it a priority to set aside funds for the future roof replacement of this building. Staff has previously set aside approximately $400,000, and Council has decided to set aside another $400,000. So staff recommends that the Council pass this resolution to commit a total of $2.6 million of the capital projects fund balance for use of future projects.
Thank you, Rhonda. And I do want to say we did receive the check from DuPont yesterday, and believe it or not, it's impressive to hold a $1.8 million check in your hand. And it was nice to see that, and that we've received it as a nice Christmas present. So thank everyone for the work they've done on that. It is very much appreciated. But with that, what is the council's wishes?
So move we approve.
We have a motion by Raymond to approve. Do you have a second?
Second.
Second by Nate Dotson. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved also. Now moving on to 123.13 MnDOT grant agreement for fuel system repairs at the airport, and that will go to Troy. Right?
Yes. So our fuel system needed some repairs that were completed in October. We had some ventilation issues and some things that needed to be repaired. It was somewhat of an emergency repair, so we did go ahead and have that done. We did talk to the Minnesota Department of Transportation Office of Aeronautics for a possible grant. They did want us to fix the repairs right away, and we're agreeable to a 50% grant to cover half those costs. So the work has been completed. Half of the costs were $8,476.50, and so this is the grant application then for funding half of those costs. So staff would recommend approval of the resolution authorizing the acceptance of the MnDOT grant agreement for the fuel system repairs.
Thank you, Troy. Raymond?
Did that 8,000 come out of the budget then this year, or where did?
Yep, it'll come out of this year. We did
airport budget, or?
Yep, it'll come out of the airport budget. We did have more revenues this year than we had budgeted, so we did have some room there to cover this expense.
Is this a planned preventive maintenance that we need to plan again, or it sounded like it was emergency kind of reading the information? Do we need to do it every plan?
It was all tested out and looks good for now, so we're not anticipating any more problems with it. We do have a maintenance plan together for everything out at the airport. This was not scheduled at this time, though.
Move to approve.
We have a motion by Greg to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Kevin Rainey. Any further discussion?
This wasn't, though, a lack of preventative maintenance. This wasn't something where you would have caught it had there been some preventative maintenance anyway. It's just a fluke.
Correct. Yep.
It was caught during maintenance.
Yeah.
Okay. See no further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved also. Now we'll move on to the next one, 124-13 MnDOT grant agreement, updated airport master plan study, and back to Troy.
Okay, this is a grant for our master study. We did have to do some paperwork that kind of trailed behind the process, and again, we were reassured that from MnDOT that this was going to be coming in. So this is actually the paperwork behind the process somewhat to again cover the cost, half the cost of the master plan update.
Thank you. Any questions from the council?
Yes.
Raymond?
Is that need updated every 10 years, or is there any form of procedure that we need to say the next time 10, or is there any just whenever we think it needs to be? Or?
Well, there's not a set time limit on these plans. The last one done officially was 1974, and we were, MnDOT was saying, hey, you guys need to take a look at this and update it. So this was one that was in the makings for a while. We anticipate this will last us probably 20 years.
Okay. I didn't know if we should put in the come up file in 10 years, we need to do.
Yeah, we will have this scheduled in our CIP plan for an update, probably in 20 years.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Troy. What is the council's wishes?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Nate?
No, Brent.
To approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Dave Burbank. Any further discussion on this one? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved also. With that, we'll move on to Resolution 125-13, Order of Feasibility Report for Lamont Road. And this will go to Kyle.
Good evening. This is pertaining to the next three resolutions. The resolutions are for the first step in the assessment process on projects we're looking at for next year. The three projects are Lamont Road, and that would be from Selby to the I-35 bridge with an alternate possibly, depending on how costs come back, to go from the bridge to 24th Street. 24th Avenue, excuse me. Mineral Springs Parkway, this would be from Cherry Street to Mineral Springs Road, so through Mineral Springs Park and up to Mineral Springs Road. And then the 2014 Street and Utility Improvement Project, which would include a section of Mound Street, a block of Hilltop, Linwood, and Meadow Lane, all kind of generally in the area of Wilson School. And then also a block of 16th Street Northeast that we have some sanitary sewer issues with. And then we'll also look at the overlays. The overlays are not assessed, so they're not included, but they'll be estimated. The process will be I'll likely have the feasibility reports to the council either the last meeting in January or the first meeting in February, and then we will schedule the neighborhood meetings and the improvement hearings at that time.
Thank you, Kyle. We'll start with Resolution 125-13 for Lamont Road. What is the council's wishes?
So moved.
We have a motion.
So move we approve. Oh,
by
second.
Raymond.
Second. I'll move.
Okay.
Second by Dave. Any further discussion on Lamont Road? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The next one is 126-13 for Mineral Springs Parkway. And with that,
Motion to approve.
we have a motion by Brent to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Nate Dodson. Any further discussion on that one? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That one has been approved also. Moving on to the 2014 Street and Utilities Improvements. What is the council's wishes?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Nate. This is Resolution 127. Motion by Nate to approve. Do we have a second to that?
Second.
Second by Dave Burbank. Any further discussion on that one? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved. Now we'll move on to contracts and agreements. 3.6.1, renewal park and recreation agreement with Steele County, and that will go to Chris.
Thank you. Staff is proposing to extend the present contract for an additional year with some minor modifications. The city will provide contributed services for the months of January through March 2014. This does reflect the utility costs for the times the city is programming in the Four Seasons Center. City will no longer provide lifeguard services at Beaver Lake. Provision was also added to provide insurance coverage to the county when the city is utilizing the Four Seasons building. And in addition, staff will continue to investigate opportunities of additional cooperation and collaboration of the Four Seasons Center and the city's Park and Recreation Department. Budget impact, our charter provides for contributed services for city programs up to a total of 4% of the gross revenue. The last report I had from OPU, we were at about 2.6, so we're well under that, and staff would recommend approval of this agreement.
Thank you. Questions from the council?
I've got one question, Chris. Last spring with the late spring, I know the Park and Rec used the Four Seasons for indoor soccer, that type of thing. With this new agreement, would that be something where we would have to lease the building for those times?
We could still utilize it if there was some, some extraordinary need for Steele County employees or for Four Seasons personnel over and above what our personnel, we would have to pay for that. But, generally speaking, we have not had any charges for that. So,
Raymond.
Just got a question. Since we do that contributed services January, February, March, does the Youth Hockey Association get a reduced cost for ice time because we are furnishing that?
I'd have to verify that. I don't know that for sure, but I know that was a concern.
Months, that was my concern.
Yep.
That was part of it, why we were doing it.
I can check on that for you.
Okay.
Okay, one of the things that I looked at is that on paragraph 3, where it says such use, from such use, I think we looked at putting if any in that.
Yeah. And I've talked to Tom Shea about that, and he was okay with that. And then we might have another minor tweak to the insurance language based on input from Mark Walbrand. So.
Okay. So with that correction and another potential, that's what I would recommend it to be approved as. So with that, what is the council's wishes?
So move we approve.
With those corrections? We have a motion by Raymond to approve with those corrections. Do we have a second to that?
Second.
Second by Nate Dotson. Any further discussion on that?
Yeah, I've got one more question, if I could. Going forward, are we looking at an extended contract after 2014, a 3-year type deal, or?
Yeah, I think this contract would represent kind of the old deal. You know, we're winding that up. I think this was originally envisioned to help assist with the additional sheet of ice. So this will wrap that deal up, and we may come back with a separate new agreement for council and commission consideration on working together in the future.
Okay, so, thank you.
Raymond.
The original deal was 10 years because I was on the utility board at that time, and that was because the bonds were paid for in 10 years, and that's why Mark was at the meeting, remember, at the utility board, went through and looked at it, because that was why we did it, was to pay the bonds would be, the building would be done, and then we'd stop it. So that's what the original agreement was for.
Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved with those changes. We'll move on to the next item, which is 3.7.1, 5-year capital improvement plan for 2014 to 2018. And with that, we will go to Rhonda.
Thank you. You should have all received a copy of the updated 5-year CIP for the years 2014 to 2018. Following adoption tonight, that will also be available on the website. Staff has worked on updating this plan. We've had work sessions with the council to review the detail of 2014 with you and a summary review of the 4 years after that. Just want to mention to you that the first year of the plan has been appropriated by council, and the future years, nothing is set in stone. It can be changed as we move forward. Each year, the council will look at the most current year. And staff recommends adoption of this plan.
Thank you very much, Rhonda. That's a good job with that. Thank you. And with that, what is the council's wishes?
Move to approve.
We have a motion by Greg Schultz to approve the 5-year capital plan.
I'll second it.
We have a second by Raymond Toulson. Any further discussion?
Chris, are we going to talk about that at long-range planning next month? Any of that at all? Would that be part of the long-range planning?
You know, I don't know if we'll get into real specifics about the plan, but, you know, in general, certainly, yep.
Well, you know, there's a lot of the cash flow. I just wonder, you look
right.
at
Well, certain elements of that, you know, there's some long-range things in there and some more short-term. So, yeah, I'm sure it'll all be part of that.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved. And again, thank you, Rhonda. We move on to 3.7.2, cable TV franchise agreement audit or franchise audit. With that, we'll go to Chris.
Thank you, Les. The cities of Albert Lea and Owatonna partnered together to retain Scott Lewis and Associates to conduct a 3-year audit of charter communications. By partnering, we're able to get the service a little cheaper. We have the final report attached for your review. It did reveal an underpayment in franchise fees in the amount of $8,572. The franchise agreement also provides for interest to be charged on this underpayment, bringing the total to $9,486. Unfortunately, during the course of the audit, the auditors were hampered by a lack of cooperation from Charter. They declined repeated requests by Lewis and Associates for certain financial records to document the subscriber revenue and the non-subscriber revenue. As a result, our auditors are telling us there may be additional undeterminable amounts due to the city. The analysis also revealed Charter collected $26,339 in excess franchise fees from subscribers. this amount should be refunded to customers residing within the city limits. Because Charter refused to provide the documents that we are legally entitled to examine, the auditor suggested that the city may want to consider this action if this action constitutes a franchise violation and provide a notice to the company. The auditor also commented that it's highly unusual for a company to refuse to provide these documents, and that the documents they requested are a very standard item when conducting an audit. So staff is recommending that the city accept the report, provide a copy to Charter, and also recommend that a bill be issued to Charter for the underpayment. We require them to refund the $26,339 to city Charter customers and provide documentation of such reimbursement, and also to provide them a formal notice by the city that we consider their refusal to provide documents a franchise violation.
Thank you, Chris.
Would that information come from Mark's office on that letter? Or?
This came from Scott Lewis.
I mean, will Mark be filing that with them or as attorney? Or?
Yeah, we'll be working with Bob Vose, who is assisting with the franchise negotiations, and also
just wonder if it'd be a little more legal by Mark filing those documents. It just with the name and the attorney and might be just a suggestion.
What? Once we assert there's been a franchise violation, what recourse do we have, especially given that we no longer are operating under?
Yeah, it's kind of a gray area, but they are given so many days in order to cure the violation. So it's kind of a start of a process, so we can take it as far as we'd like.
Any other questions from the council? I guess I'd like to know also maybe a status on how close we are to an agreement with them on the existing. It's been September.
Yeah, I know. I have gotten no updates from Charter or Bob. They have not responded to him. As you know, we are continuing our discussions with Jaguar, and that's where I'm concentrating my efforts.
Okay.
Chris, have any other communities experienced the same difficulties?
Not that I'm aware of. I know Albert Lee also had an underpayment in their franchise fees, but I don't believe that they had any trouble getting the documents that they wanted. So not that I'm aware of, anyway.
Okay. Raymond.
A couple of weeks ago, they were down over 10 hours on their email system, and I got a few calls from town, different parts of town. I think mostly a lot of Owatonna was down for over 10 hours that day.
So what is the council's wishes in this?
Well, I'm going to accept the audit as printed, but I think we need to do the things that Chris recommended.
Okay, approve it as recommended by Chris. Okay. We have a motion by Raymond to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Nate Dotson. Any further discussion on this?
I don't know.
I've got a additional question.
Doug or Dave?
Chris, as they possibly litigate this, are we capped at the amount of money that we're going to be billed by Mr. Voss? Or is that?
No, we are not capped.
Not capped?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's where, we'll have to evaluate going forward.
Grab the microphone, Mark.
One of the first methods of recourse is after the notice is sent to them. If they've failed to comply, then there's a hearing in front of the council before it would ever go to court. There's an administrative procedure set forth in the contract itself. So that would come before there'd be any formal litigation.
Okay. Thank you.
There's also a performance bond of $25,000. Okay. And our remedies under the contract are cumulative. They're not any one particular exclusive remedy. So.
Okay. Do we have a motion and a second?
We do already.
Yes. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been done, and thank you for the work done on that. The next item is the authorization to purchase properties at 305 and 317 Lamont Road. Now we go back to Troy on this one.
In June, the DNR awarded the city $500,000 in additional grant money for the removal of homes in the floodplain. These funds were appropriated due to the 2010 flood, and it does cover 100% of the costs associated with the purchase and removal of homes within the floodplain. We had an existing grant for $220,000 that was to remove 2 homes at 1018 North Elm and 349 Lamont Road. Those have both been completed. We've also purchased properties at 223 and 321 Lamont Road, and we currently have a purchase agreement to purchase the property at 215 Lamont Road using these additional funds. And the funds can be used, have to be used up by June 30th of 2014. The grant program is voluntary and certain criteria must be met. We have a purchase agreement with the property owner at 305 Lamont Road to purchase the property for $67,800. We also have a purchase agreement to purchase the property at 317 Lamont Road for $74,000. Both these closings would happen probably in March. One would be in March and one would be completed on or before March 1st. Again, all expenses would be covered by the grant, and therefore we can use a private contractor, which we plan to do much like we've done in the past, is we bid it out to a private contractor. The basements of both the homes have been flooded during the 2010 flood, and they've experienced flooding numerous times. We have removed 3 houses already, and at the time I wrote this, we had 2 more to come down. Those came down. One came down yesterday and one came down today. So those 2 are down. So we've taken out 5 of the 10 that were along that stretch there. So the grant would cover all the expenses of the removal, the purchase, the removal, and site restoration. So there's no cost for us. We would have to upfront the costs, and then we would be reimbursed through the grant. So staff would recommend approval of the purchase and removal of the 2 houses in the floodplain at 305 and 317 Lamont Road.
Thank you, Troy. What is the council's wishes on this?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Dave Burbank to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Greg Schultz. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved to proceed. Thank you, Troy. With that, we'll move on to council comment or public comment. Anyone wishing to speak, please come to the microphone. And seeing none, I will move on to council comment, and we'll start with Raymond.
Just like to wish a blessed Merry Christmas to all the people of Owatonna, and let there be peace in the world. And I'd like to thank all our veterans and service people during this Christmas holidays, and we wish them the best.
Thank you, Raymond. Nate.
Merry Christmas. We'll see you next year.
Thank you. Greg.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Dave.
Merry Christmas and have a safe New Year's.
Kevin.
Same thing. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Brent.
Same thing. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Thank you. And we'll move on to the mayor. Tom.
I just passed out this evening a copy of the information I got for the food shelf. So far for households, they've served 6,248 through November of this year. So we truly appreciate the holiday train and its check for $7,500 of donations to the food shelf. So, and everybody have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Tom, do you know how much they raised that night at all for cash and donations?
I do not know what they raised, no.
Okay.
Thank you. Chris.
Just one quick announcement. Ann Plisconco's farewell is tomorrow from 1 to 3, I believe.
Tomorrow or Thursday?
Thursday. I'm sorry, Thursday the 19th. Thank you. At Senior Place.
Thank you. And I wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a blessed New Year. And with that, I'm going to even let Mark. Have you got anything to add?
No, I join in wishing everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And once again, we remember all of our veterans.
Yes, our veterans are very important to us. With that, Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Kevin Rainey to adjourn. Do you have a second?
Second.
Second by Brent Svenby. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.